All right, so the other interesting item this week, Japanese Xbox One boss Takahashi Minami, I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. I think I've got it. He's basically the Phil Spencer of Xbox Japan.
Amazing hair.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning use of product. He was.
He was. Tense master Legary over
He
there.
has resigned after following extremely poor sales of the Xbox One in Japan since its September launch. But he will relocate to the U.S. office, so they're gonna bring him into the fold, back under Mama's wing.
That's okay, baby bird. We'll mend that wing. And by that we mean we'll never sell in Japan.
Yeah, so that's why he isn't out of a job, because it wasn't entirely his fault, I'm sure.
Well, according to so here's a couple. This guy he'd been for like 25 years held this same position at Sony Japan. So they were like, okay, who can we get that
this guy knows
this market? Yeah. Still didn't work. Xbox One sold about 38,500 units since its September launch in Japan.
Oof. Just
to put that in perspective, the PS4 sold over 300,000 units in Japan in its first 2 days on sale in Japan. So the Xbox continues.
I have no
to not
vested
do well.
interest, and that's a punch in the gut to your sales figures.
Sony do what Micro don't. That doesn't work. That works better with Sega and Nintendo.
Close.
That works better with Sega and Nintendo. That being said, the story's not on the list. I'm not 100% sure it was real, but I'm going to keep saying.
Okay.
Did Phil Spencer say that they're committed to making JRPGs for the Xbox One? That was a story this week, right?
We did have an article that said Phil Spencer said that you will see JRPGs on Xbox One.
So
That's
there's
all
still
that'll be interesting.
Granted, that happened with the 360 as well. There was we talked about those a lot. The Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey, Eternal Sonata.
A
lot of people love
Nier?
Lost Odyssey.
Nier, yeah.
I did.
Those games were all. None of those games were like, holy crap, you need to own this 9.0 RPGs.
Actually, they were all
competent.
really awesome.
They were all very good, but none of them were like these system selling, like, this is the RPG of the generation that you need to play.
It wasn't like Secret of Mana.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe JRPGs just don't have the, like, Ni no Kuni was rad last gen, Xenoblade Chronicles for Wii was rad, but I don't know if JRPGs just hold the same sway.
I was going to say JRPGs haven't been that limelight type of RPG that were... that get people interested anymore.
What about in Japan though? That's what we're talking about. Like, do JRPGs still? Are they
handhelds ones do?
Right. Are they the first-person shooters of Japan?
Yeah. I mean, I think people want their like Dragon Quest game on 3DS. Yeah. They don't want their sit down and play.
Yeah. There's arcade games in arcades that are RPGs in Japan.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah. That is terrifying.
I love that so much. Because the closest we ever got to that in America was like D&D Tower of Doom.
Yeah,
that was the closest thing we ever got to a role-playing game.
Was that the one where you could like somehow save your game and keep it with you?
I had.
Where you put in a passcode?
So
there were games like that in
there
the
were
90s,
later.
so.
Yeah, later on.
Little known fact, I was a bowling champion for 2 years.
What?
Really?
Back in middle school and high school.
Okay.
What's your high
good
game?
bowler.
What was your average?
260.
Wow, that's incredible.
Mine was 180.
I was a very good bowler as a child. Not nearly as good anymore.
That's great. My all-time game is 210, which was One Miraculous Night.
one miraculous night. The Ryan McCaffrey bowling story.
That's the title of my memoir.
Yeah.
One
Not
Miraculous
about your child.
It has nothing to do with sex, with women. It's about bowling.
But the thing I remember most about those 2 years, it wasn't the trophies and the women and the drugs and the. Granted, I was in like 7th, 8th grade. None of these were things. My bowling alley had a machine, Gauntlet Legends, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Where you enter your name and your password every time.
Yeah.
And I would have the same character.
Nice.
Over the course of multiple years.
That's the one I was thinking of.
I would play with like 3 of my buddies who were on my team, and then sort of a random dude who was always there. Like a year and a half into it, somehow the machine erased its data.
Oh my god.
The random dude found out. He cried. He was not happy. He literally cried.
Tears.
How old was he?
He was
8th grade.
He should have been older than playing with us. It was probably illegal to become friends with us.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, Xbox One in Japan.
I don't know how we got there. That was
But yeah, I mean, you touched on it, Marty. You can't say Microsoft hasn't tried over the years in Japan. Whether it was, they got. I mean, Ninja Gaiden is probably the best thing to ever come out of Japan. That was an Xbox exclusive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's incredible for the original system.
Oh yeah.
As you said, Eternal Sonata and Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon on 360.
They have stuff in the pipeline. They have we saw at E3 Phantom Dust and Scalebound.
Yep, very true.
Those
are good points.
Yeah, Platinum. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Will it ever sell there?
No, it's been 12 years, 13 years.
So
it's not happening.
Xbox 6 or 7 by then it'll have been around for 50 years, and then people will be just as loyal.
My friend, that's the one console future will be in. Everyone will own the box by then.
It seems like it's
X-Station 12.
X-Station, yeah. Or mobile phones will just put all of us out of business.
That too.
Yeah.
Japanese markets generally have a very high attach rate to nationalistic properties. Like Sony is a Japanese company, so is Nintendo.
Yeah.
So they're obviously like Nikon, Canon. Those are both, Olympus doesn't sell cameras in Japan, to draw a different parallel. So I guess is it about the games there? Because there are good games, right? Like you guys mentioned them.
Yeah.
But
you're right. That's the
when will people realize? When will Japanese people realize that this is
that
a
has
console?
always been cited as a reason, is the Japanese market is just not as willing to embrace an American console.
I mean, one of those weird rumors that always exists, but I don't know where it came from, is like Microsoft's gonna buy Capcom. Like that's always been that rumor that just sort of is like hovering.
Yeah, there was a guy
that doesn't come from a place.
Yeah.
There was a guy that was tweeting me about that multiple times a day for like a month, and then I think he finally gave up when he realized it wasn't happening.
Sure.
Although now would be the time to buy Capcom.
Yeah.
They are
They're not
buy
doing
low.
Now that we literally don't know what they're doing.
Poor Capcom.
They still own Mega Man, right?
So Mega Man,
own
Street
it.
Fighter, Devil May Cry,
People are
Resident
hungry
Evil.
for
Hell
more
of a
Mega
portfolio.
Man, Resident Evil.
Yeah.
They'll never sell
It
them.
actually makes
I
me
don't think they're
sad
ready
to
to.
think about. You look at, remember Capcom at this point in the last generation? Dead Rising,
Lost Planet.
Resident Evil,
First Lost
Street Fighter 4. Yeah.
Street Fighter 4.
Oh, that was like
They
really
had
big for them.
Mega Man 9 and 10.
right. They were, and most of them were built off of their
that
new
one.
engine,
Yeah.
whose name now escapes me, and I wish I remembered because it would make me sound smarter.
Unreal.
No,
I'm just kidding.
no, it was I'll just
Source.
it'll come later, but
Those are the
but yeah,
two.
they had their own tech.
Yeah,
They were
I remember
building
what
these
you're
great
talking
games, and you look at, they were just riding high. They were one of the best, most exciting publishers in the industry, and now at this, a year into this cycle, they're one of the, quite frankly, the saddest publishers in the industry.
Yeah, they were at this point in the last generation. They were almost like Ubisoft, where like Ubisoft has those like
Creative
multiple games a
role.
year, like really cool. I mean, like some of them are big and some of them aren't, but like stuff like Watch Dogs and AC and Far Cry and The Crew, like they have huge hitters.
Capcom had Marvel vs. Capcom also.
Marvel, baby.
That's true,
Yeah,
which
that
was
huge.
enormous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I don't want to, like, I don't have any logic to back it up, but it seems like ever since Inafune left Capcom hasn't really, like, their output and their
Put another name
They're-
on Street Fighter and put it out there.
well.
I mean, Street
Am
Fighter
I-
5
am I
has to
nuts?
be in development. You're not
Yeah.
nuts. It was, I mean, sort of the same thing when like Igarashi got weirdly demoted or whatever happened to him in terms of the Castlevania games.
Yeah.
Like that series has just been stagnant, and they've been trying to do these 3D games that just don't really work. Whereas everyone's just like, we want more Symphony of the Night. Please do this. Japan's weird, dude.
Japan is weird. This is a fact.
You could buy whiskey and cigs out of a vending machine in your hotel.
That's right, you can.
I did buy whiskey and cigs out of a vending machine in my
all
hotel.
did.
I love
Yeah.
going to Japan. It's awesome.
Yeah. Let's go there right now. Podcast over.